There's so much that I want to say, and I don't even know where to start. The truth is, I have a dysfunctional relationship with vulnerability. It's too closely related to manipulation for my taste. See, I don't want you to feel obligated to hear me out, and I don't want to say anything that might unduly influence you to remain tethered to me. At the same time, I feel like I owe you an explanation. And if you're reading this letter or Regina's reading it to you, then you probably want one. Well, let me start by saying I'm sorry. I apologize for the ways that I failed you, and I pray that my later actions made up for those failures. Forgive me for not remaining professional at all times. I was so focused on giving you what you needed that I failed to protect your heart, and for that I apologize. A tear rolled down Angela's face, and Regina stopped reading and asked, "You want me to stop?" Angela, unable to speak, shook her head no. Regina continued reading. "I need you to know that over the 6 months I was assigned to protect you, I learned a lot about who I am. I learned a lot about what it means to be a man. I learned what it really means to love a woman. Please believe me when I tell you, I didn't leave because I didn't love you. I left because loving you and putting you and your baby first. I left because my track record is proof that nothing good could have come from me staying. You were facing the toughest fight of your life. So I know you needed support, but having me there would have been a crutch. And I, of all people, know a little something about crutches. See, I've been a crutch more times than I can count. And more often than not, being a crutch resulted in me needing a crutch. I've learned to live without my crutch. And all I want for you is the same. You deserve to be able to start over, to mourn the death of your husband without feeling any guilt. You deserve to be able to start a new life without me in the shadows. My prayer is that God will give you everything you need, and that if you're not 100%, that you will be soon. I pray that you know and believe that you are one of the most dynamic, gifted, beautiful, intelligent, worthy women I've ever known. And I pray that you're choosing you, your purpose, your path, your future. I pray that you know that in you, I found a friend. And I pray that one day we'll be able to find our way back to that friendship, but healthy, not trauma bonded, mutually beneficial and pleasing to God. If ever you're ready for that kind of friendship, have the conversation with Regina. She knows how to reach me. Regina folded the letter and looked at Angela and said, "Best friend, you just had a baby less than a month ago. You should be focused on you, getting better so that you can take care of your baby." He's right. At that moment, Miss Brenda walked in and said, "Now that's the worst advice I ever heard in my life." Regina jumped and turned and said, "Oh my God, Miss Brenda, you scared the life out of me." Miss Brenda said, "Girl, if you want to have a private conversation, you're going to have to learn how to close the door and use your inside voice. Now, Angie, my son is dead. You are not. At some point, you're going to have to stop looking in the rear view and start enjoying the view from the windshield. Shoot. If you don't want him, I'm single." Regina burst out laughing and said, "Oh my goodness, Miss Brenda." Miss Brenda said, "Girl, I'm just jiving. But Marsha's single and she could use a good man." Regina said, "Miss Brenda, where are the kids?" Miss Brenda said, "They are with Stephanie and Marsha. I needed to come up here by myself so that I could have a conversation with Angie. They'll be up here shortly." Regina said, "It appears that she still hasn't found her voice." Miss Brenda said, "That's fine. She can clearly hear. So, Angie, have you had time to think about what we talked about? What you think, Angie? You want to raise one kid or two?" At that moment, Mrs. Bella St. James walked into her kitchen. Sitting in one of her dinette chairs was her son, Quincy Anders St. James IV, but you might know him as Q. "What the guan, son?" said Miss Bella. "Everything's good, my dear. What's going on with you?" "Quincy, me a go box you upon the head." Whoa, Medea, how we get there? Boy, you been moping around my house here for going on a month, and I done let you alone. And now I ask you what to go on, and you tell me everything I read. Mom, I just have a lot on my mind, Q said. At that moment, Q's phone rings. He says, "What up, sis?" "She's awake," Regina says. "Thank God," Q said. "She's unable to talk, but I did read the letter to her." "Thank you, sis," Q said. "Send the letters, address them to me. When she's ready, I'll give them to her." "No, that's not how this is supposed to work, Gigi. We had an agreement. She's supposed to let you know if she wants to receive them, and then I'll write them." "Write the letters, bro. Writing is cathartic. Get it out. Put it on paper while it's on your mind and on your heart. Whether she reads them or not, you will have unburdened yourself and you will have provided the opportunity. If nothing comes of it, you can move on with a free and clear heart. That's what you deserve." I read your letter to her, but you know what? One of the things I noticed that you talked a lot about what she deserves. What about what you deserve? If you don't write the letters, then you'll be waiting and waiting, just like you were waiting for this phone call. Q asked, "How'd you get so wise, sis?" Regina said, "Oh no, this wasn't my idea. This was Miss Brenda's. She walked in right when I finished reading the letter. I'm not sure how much of it she heard, but she said the same thing. You talked about what Angie deserves, not having you in the shadows. Well, you deserve to not be waiting to hear from her." Q said, "I guess you're both right." "Was Miss Brenda offended, though?" Regina said, "No. She said to tell you that she's single, and then she said to tell you Marsha's single." Q and Regina both laughed. And Regina said, "Well, I gotta go. Keep me posted. Let me know what you need, and write the letters." Q said, "Be safe, sis." Regina said, "And you, stay dangerous." Miss Bella looked at her son and said, "Now everything I read." This is Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, Concrete Jungle, the introduction.